The Big 550 KTRS. This hour is presented by Collier and Thompson Kitchen and Bath. Visit them today at collierandthompson.com.
821 on the Big 550 KTRS. Jeff Gordon, St. Louis Post-Dispatch sports columnist, joins us every Thursday. Good morning, Jeff Gordon.
Well, it's great to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You can listen to us on KTRS Radio, and you can watch us live on your phone, on your tablet, or laptop, or desktop, stltoday.com. Click on the hot list right up there, McGraw Live, and you can watch Jeff Gordon on TV here on the Big 550 KTRS. First, let's start with Mr. Wacha, who everybody's rooting for. Too much hype for this poor guy?
You know, it's getting crazy. There are other really good young pitchers on this team. Lance Lynn went to the All-Star game last year. That came out of nowhere, really. He was a solid prospect. He's an achiever. Shelby Miller had all the hype, and he's lived up to it. But Wacha's a good prospect, but I think people are getting carried away. I just don't know where he really I think he'll be good here. It'll help this interim period. But, yeah, it's almost a frenzy in the media.
And it's almost unfair to the guy. He was pitching at Texas A&M less than a year ago, right?
Yeah, they drafted him a year ago, and he was almost ready for the major leagues last year, which makes him unique. That's the unique thing about him. He was a finished product, polished, ready to go. Trouble is that he pitched 1 million innings in college and needed to recover from that, and everywhere he's gone since then, he's been really successful, put up great numbers, and the best thing about the Cardinals period is their young pitching, and the way it's developed is older guys teaching younger guys. And in spring training, Michael Wacha was a tag-along for Adam Wainwright.
Right.
They look a lot alike, same size, a little different pitchers, but that's a pretty good mentor to have. And Chris Carpenter did the same thing with Trevor Rosenthal, and there's a reason why the Cardinals have more good pitching than other teams.
You also have Yadier Molina, who is the all-star catcher. I mean, a really brilliant catcher and a caller of games. You also have the manager, who was one of the great defensive catchers who could handle a pitching staff. So, I mean, they've got a wealth of knowledge waiting for these young guys.
You talk about the ultimate environment for a pitcher to come into. You know, their pitchers aren't in the back eating fried chicken, drinking beer, playing video games like the Red Sox. They're on the front rail.
Right.
They're all like coaches. Then you have a manager on the field in Molina, and you have, a really good bullpen coach. You have, Derek Lilliquist, who studied under Dave Duncan, worked under Dave Duncan. And then, of course, a guy who called so many great games in Mike Matheny. You're just surrounded by guys who really get what needs to be done here.
Was Wacha that herald out of Texas A&M?
He was a top prospect because he was a finished prospect. A lot of teams would rather draft a young guy like Shelby Miller. Tyrell Jenkins is another guy the Cardinals own who's years away. But you draft a guy coming out of high school, you can mold him. Wacha's a guy that was ready to go. The minute he was signed with the Cardinals, he could have come up and pitched in the big leagues if he was physically rested enough to do it. He was that good.
Which a lot of teams will shy away from because there's no upside.
Right. Their ceiling he's hit. A lot of scouts say, well, he's hit his ceiling.
Right.
What he is what he's going to be. And there's also some concern when guys come out of college that they're going to start losing velocity because they've been pitched so much. Mm-hmm. And there are some teams that are afraid of college guys. Cardinals have 1 million of them.
Right.
And you're seeing the success of that right now.
I mean, nobody's seen anything like this in years in baseball, have they?
Well, even this franchise, think about some of the guys they've had to dredge up just to get through games. Mike Maroth, a left-hander, had nothing left. Esteban Yan, remember, just sweating profusely coming in, just sweat just pouring on his face. Kip Wells, standing at the mound. Should I throw another pitch or should I just stand here?
Right.
Stand here some more, because I just don't think I have it in me to throw one more pitch. I just don't care anymore.
Right.
And these are the guys you saw not too long ago in St. Louis, and a lot of teams have those guys.
Yeah, they also left out Jason Marquis out to dry a couple times because they had nobody left in the bullpen.
Yeah, and he's a tough guy, and so, yeah, just, good luck, Jason.
And this Michael Wacha pick came from Albert Pujols?
Right. There was a compensatory pick that came there. The Cardinals ended up with a bunch of picks because they didn't keep players who left, and they also lost Albert. But, yeah, that is a way to remember that. Besides having the money to buy a Carlos Beltran, to extend a Molina, to extend a Wainwright, they got a pretty good young player in Wacha.
So you lose one of the greatest players of his generation, 11 years after having him, 10 years after having him, whatever it was, and then you don't get anything for losing him to free agency. You get to save the money, so you re-sign your other guys, and then you get a draft pick and you draft this pitcher, which everyone says is the next Tom Seaver.
And you look at Los Angeles right now, the Angels, they need pitching. They would trade Albert to the Cardinals and his contract and all those years on that contract for Michael Wacha.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's talk Rutgers. What is going on with Rutgers? How bad of a Big Ten team can this be?
The situation just keeps getting worse. You spend $70,000 on a search firm, and you end up with an athletic director who's had a number of issues in her background about being bad to players. This is stuff you could have found on Google without spending $70,000. And Mike Rice was the big story there. Basketball coach. He was really doing things you don't need. This Bobby Knight stuff that's old and it's passé. You can't do it anymore. He was doing it and then some. It was caught on videotape. One of the coaches ratted him out because he was tired of dealing with this guy. The school knew about it, put it out, and then that same coach made this stuff public. And of course, we've seen the video, him playing dodgeball with the players and so forth. And it's just, there's no place in sports right now for that sort of thing. Remember Mike Leach locking a kid in a shed, Craig James' son, because the kid had a concussion syndromes and he had other issues. But so he said, put him in the shed, and he can't do that anymore.
But so they go out and they hire this athletic director who's a woman. Now it comes out that when she was at Louisville, I guess, or coming up wherever she was, the students are now coming out saying she was vile to these female volleyball players. And the stuff she's accused of saying, you wouldn't say. I mean, it's basically bullying somebody on a playground.
Yeah, I believe it was Tennessee, and of course she had litigation in Louisville, and then tried to deny that she was even at this wedding where she said something on a video. Well, the video exists, and so does a video of her catching the bouquet. I mean, I don't remember being at that wedding. You caught the bouquet, for God's sakes. No woman forgets that. And then, she just sort of jokingly said, well, we better not have a surprise from your honeymoon. There's no place for kids in coaching, basically. And this woman had a kid and ended up suing the school.
I mean, Rutgers is unbelievable.
Yeah, man. And, this is the Big Ten was too good for Mizzou, and Mizzou was really interested in going to the Big Ten, and now it has Rutgers. Congratulations.
Yeah. This morning, somebody announced that St. Louis is getting the SEC basketball championship?
Pretty big deal when you think about Kentucky bringing all those folks over.
Right.
And they always love coming to St. Louis. They did that for some tournaments, NCAA tournaments. Florida's a great program. Yeah, this will be a big thing. I mean, St. Louis gets a little love. They're trying to make St. Louis a strong market for the SEC, the new SEC network.
Right.
They wanted Mizzou for the St. Louis market, and I'm not surprised that Mike Slive, who used to be involved with Mizzou way back in the day, I'm not surprised he did this.
Jeff Gordon with us, St. Louis Post-Dispatch sports guy. What constitutes success for Wacha tonight? I mean, are we just looking for a quality start, 6 innings, and that's a success, or does he have to pitch a complete game shutout?
I think fans will be disappointed if he doesn't pitch lights out because Tyler Lyons has been great. John Gass was pretty good when he got his chance. Shelby Miller's been brilliant. Lance Lynn's been outstanding, so the bar is so high.
Right.
I think if he just goes out and pitches 6 innings and gives up 3 runs, that's great. But fan expectations are that, well, he better go 7 or 8. And
is there anybody left still in AAA?
Well, they sent Carlos Martinez back to build up his arm strength, so he would be the next guy up. But, they're kind of running out. I mean, for the time being anyways, they're kind of running out of guys they can roll out there.
It's an extraordinary story that the Cardinals have had this wealth of pitching that they could call on. It's a great story. Also, a great story is that the Reds aren't going away. The Reds are playing right there with them.
That's a really good baseball team. They've had their injuries. The one juicy aspect of this is Johnny Cueto's a nut bar. He got himself into a little tiff with the Cubs recently. Of course, we know his history with the Cardinals. That is going to be fun because Dusty Baker's still crusty old Dusty.
Right.
There hasn't been a riff since Tony left, but you just sense that at some point when these teams get together again that we could have some fireworks. That is a good team.
It is, but Jocketty's there, and the ownership used to be the ownership of the Cardinals, and so there's just a natural rivalry.
And, here's where Cincinnati's really getting good. They've developed some good young players, too, and they're going to be around for a while.
That is Jeff Gordon. Jeff, when can we read you? When can we see you?
Well, STLtoday.com. I already have a couple pieces up today, and we're just we're rocking and rolling on STLtoday.com.
STLtoday.com. You can. This video will be posted, so you can see that as well, and you can see Jeff Gordon in all of his glory on STL Today TV. Have a good week. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
8:31, traffic, weather, and news straight ahead. Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, I'm Amy Bertrand. I'm the editor of the Home and Away section at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I'd have to say my favorite Cardinal moment came earlier this year when I gave away a trip for two to see the Cardinals at spring training in Jupiter, Florida. That's the way to travel to me. You can catch my blog at stltoday.com/travelswithamy.
Read it every day in the Post-Dispatch or online at stltoday.com.